What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us?
That's the greatest question, man.
The fuck are we doing with these people? It's this whole other tier. No, the middle class run shit. We run shit. And like I said, we need to quit being the little bullshit bitch society that sits back and goes, oh, just please let me be in my house. Please let me be in my house and have my fucking TV. Because eventually, whenever you're at that level and you're a little fucking bitch bending over backwards for them, they'll take that shit away from you too.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Talk Junkies. We are in day something rather...
864.
Yeah, right around there in quarantine, man. And I'm very thankful to have Jesse and Johnny here next to me, back with Talk Junkies. They had a week off. I'm not entirely too sure what happened last week. We did have Pat from Truth, Money, Freedom come on the show last week and Conjecture, and it was a very nice podcast. And I think tonight, man, we're really, really, really tired of just seeing and hearing about the current situation and what's going on with everyone's lives. So in light of that, I think that we're going to just talk about what we talked about before all of this happened. And I think here at Talk Junkies, what we were talking about and what it seemed to be the theme was just restructure of government, right? What is the answer? And not in light of what's happening right now. We're not specifically talking about that we want to change government because what is happening in the current situation. That's not what we're saying. We've been saying that for such a long time. We just want to kind of shed light on that.
Yeah, no, this podcast could apply to 4 years ago. It's got nothing to do with COVID or whatever.
Right.
My understanding of it, I feel like my levels might be a little low.
No, you're good, man.
Maybe not. It is... Honestly, it's accountability. We have an extreme lack of accountability to the officials that we have given power over to. And we need to take a big step back and look at what's happened over the past 25 years. We've had 3 recessions, economic recessions. I'm pretty sure the first one was in 2001. And then you had one in 2008, which was the housing crash. And then we have the current one that we're in 2020. And us as middle-class individuals keep sitting back, and we just... It's the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing but expect a different result. There is no good result for us in the middle class. We keep living our lives and we keep waiting for the better future, but more and more of our freedoms are taken away. It costs more to buy shit at the grocery store. We can't afford education anymore. We have lackluster jobs that we slave to, and we pay our taxes day in and day out to watch the government just make bad decisions. At some point, we have to come back and, as the middle class, I'm not speaking to the politicians right now. I'm speaking to everybody that's just like me and Johnny and Paul and the trash, the garbage men and the nurses. And at some point, we have to say, man, we can't just keep doing the same thing that we've been doing. And it's hard to try to sit back and look at everything and figure out what's exactly going on. But to go back to what I said, it's the lack of accountability that we hold towards these people that we elect into power. And even more so, it's even our election process that's been misconstrued to this way that's beneficial towards all of us. I don't want to get back into it as far as what I did like 2 weeks ago when I said you need to be angry, and you do need to be angry. But at some point, you need to sit back and realize, man, things are slowly being taken away from us, and we need to do something to counteract that. So
where are the people we're the people that are in agreement with the current state of where we are. Because those people are out there. Those people exist. The people who think that everything's fine, the government is safe, we should trust in the government, we should do what they say. I just don't understand those people, man, because I think that we're all in agreement upon what you just said, Jesse, and we have been for a very long period of time, and I'm curious where they get their mindset from. And I'm not saying that they're wrong in any way, shape, or form, but I haven't seen any evidence to the contrary.
To the contrary to what?
I just haven't seen any evidence to state why the government is the right way to go, why we should believe in the government, why we should trust in the government, why we're slowly losing our freedom. Like exactly what you just said.
The government.
There are still people out there that believe in them. That's the crazy part.
It is frustrating because the government shouldn't uphold what's best for the people. And what we have now is a government that is in the best interest of corporations. And there was a time when that economic system was being tested, and it was called Reaganomics, and they talked about trickle-down economics. And it made sense. It made sense on paper, to where you could have a capitalist society, and you could give a bunch of money to lead people in corporations, and they would spend that money on the corporation and on the people that ran it, and everyone would benefit. The problem was they got their dick hard on the idea that now they can get away with anything, and this is where we're at right now. And I'm probably skipping over a fucking bunch of shit, and I should be referencing historical times, like the 2008 crash, I think is the big one, to where you see corporations, get paid a bunch of money, and it should end up helping with unemployment.
Taxpayer money, by the way.
Taxpayer. So
they get bailed out and then pay themselves bonuses.
Yeah, they ended up just absorbing all of this excess income, and not spending it on everyday people, and it's almost a
the part that gets me about the 2008 crisis, and I don't know why more people don't talk about this. I mean, people do. People say that they're upset that these bank CEOs got more money and all this and paid themselves bonuses, but I don't understand how you can rationally say that, like, think of a bank as a business, because that's what it is. When a business does something wrong and they fail at it, they fail. Now, you can't have the banks go under. I understand the bailout. I 100% agree with the bailout. I get why it happened for the banks. You can't have these giant Lehman Brothers and Goldman Sachs and all this just go under, because then it hurts everybody. But what you can do is say that you're a business and you didn't succeed, so you should not get, like, when you give them money, that money should have went to certain specific things to help people get their houses back, to say, look, you fucked up these loans. You should have never done these loans. The people shouldn't have taken them. That's their fault too. That's their fault. But you should have never even offered these people their loans. So use this money to help them get their houses back or whatever, instead of being like, you know what I'm going to do? Pay myself a $40 million bonus because I did so well. I did so well this year.
And that's documented. These people did that, right?
Yeah, these people got bonuses. That's all on paper. When this was all said and done, only one guy, and he was just like a fall guy basically, went to prison after all this, even though there were a ton of them doing this. It was a huge deal.
Yeah.
And that comes back to what Jesse's saying, and this isn't even government, that's just bank employees. But I'm talking about, what I'm bringing up is accountability, what you said about accountability. You have to hold these people accountable, and I'm using it for the banks, but the same applies to the government. The whole point is that you have these people who have some sort of power over you, and when they abuse that power and hurt the greater good, there is nothing bad that happens to them. They literally continue what they're doing. They're like, oops, we made a mistake. I still get paid though, so everything's okay. Let's go back and keep doing stuff the exact same way we were.
So a little bit of a lack of accountability there, because
a lot of a lack of accountability.
Right? A lot.
So now I think, which will never happen, but how about we do the other effect, to where we let corporations die off. We let corporations, like if it fails, which I think is a very capitalist idea anyway.
If it fails, it fails.
And you know me, I'm capitalist. I will up until I get some different information on the comparative social economic structures that I feel will work better than capitalism, then I'll change my mind. Maybe I need to do a little bit more education on the other ones. But in my opinion, capitalism works the best. And what we need to do now is really realize that, and we have the best example right now happening within the current scenario that we're in, because the CEOs aren't what's most important. It's essential workers, right? We hear this time and time again. Essential workers that keep the cogs of the capitalist U.S. nation turning.
What happens if all the nurses just quit right now?
Everybody's fucked. All the CEOs quit. We won't. They're a wisp. They're a wisp. They're a grain of fucking sand. But if the garbage men quit working, if the nurses quit working, if the people who work at grocery stores start rioting, then all of it fails.
People who affect your
I think this is where the whole idea of essential worker comes from, is because they keep the cogs turning in the U.S. economy, and that's fundamental. So I think we need to have a change in idea. No longer this Reaganomics trickle down thing. We need to allow corporations to fail, and then keep feeding what's essential. I know this almost, I get to where this could be almost a socialistic idea, because you start worrying about the people at that point, and about the spreading of wealth and everything. But I think you can't keep expecting, because I can guarantee everyone right now with what we're doing, and this will happen again, because we had 2001, 2008, so that was 7 years, and then it took 9 years or
12 years.
12 years to do this. So then expect within the next decade some bullshit to happen, which will fuck all of the essential workers over, who literally fund everything. We fund everything. Our government needs to hear our voice on this. We need to be treated better. The general mass, the general mass of the United States, from these hardworking individuals that care about families and bettering themselves, they need more opportunity. They need the money, not these high-level CEOs. And you get, whenever you do this, it almost eliminates the idea of corruption if you were to give money to all these individuals, because who can be corrupt with $1,200? I don't know how much you're able to fuck with as far as corrupting and misusing $1,200, but that's not a thing.
No,
just overthrow and own my own personal island.
But let's say you give each individual $10,000, right? And you have good regulatory shit, and then now they're able to be this up and coming force that funds shit, and then you allow the shit.
Empower the people, man. Empower them.
I think maybe that's where I'm coming to, but I don't want to. Is it socialist? Because I'm trying to stay away from that, even though it's almost hard
let me ask
not
you something.
to.
Why are you trying to stay away from that? Everybody, by the way, everybody thinks, and I'm not saying that that's the right move. I'm just saying open your mind a little and actually think about the things that you say, and that includes me as well. People automatically, because of the way we were raised, because of the country we grew up in, because of the history books we've read, and a lot of it's accurate, by the way. I'm sure a lot of it's accurate, but I'm just saying, people think that communism and socialism, which they are bad things, but we think that they're a bad word. But when we've proven that capitalism also doesn't work, I'm not saying to switch to those things in any way. I'm not saying that.
We've already been a socialist country for a very long time.
I know. But don't feel like you have to stray away from saying the word socialist because people are going to judge you or because people think it's wrong. If you hear socialism and you automatically think that that's just the government paying people money and my money goes to everybody, like there's so much more to it than that. Educate yourself a little bit.
For sure, yeah.
That's a part of it, but there's so much more. And I'm not saying that that's the correct move. I'm just saying you shouldn't be afraid to have minor socialist ideas, minor communist ideas, minor capitalism ideas. There's parts of each kind of government that are good, and there's huge parts of them that are bad.
Before all of this went down, I think that there were still a lot of people struggling within the United States to even make ends meet, and the strive for equality and the strive for everyone to be equal, and the amount of homeless people that we had in this country and the amount of people who were struggling to make ends meet, our current government in where it stands is not able to meet those needs, right? And what do we do? What do we do to fix that? How do we fix that situation? And I think within this podcast, that's kind of what I want to talk about, is ways or ideas to implement certain different structures to fix that. And like I said, I truly think that we have been socialists for a very long time. I mean, 30% of our taxes go into bullshit or whatever, Social Security, government, blah, blah, blah.
We're taxed on every level.
Right.
On every
multiple times.
Personal, but you see what I'm saying?
People who think they know capitalism don't understand. You literally pay the government for owning a car.
Yeah,
every year.
But you see what I'm saying?
That's not a capitalist fucking idea. That is a you don't own anything is a very socialist idea.
Mm-hmm.
But yet you pay taxes on a car that you've already owned for fucking 5 years, and yet you have to give the government money for that.
The state, but yes,
that's the government.
But the government is, which the government's
state
necessary.
government,
I'm
yes.
not anti-government. I'm not anti-government. Me as a libertarian, I'm anti-federal. I'm anti-federal government.
right.
But there are some things in the way that we're taxed, and nobody ever gets upset about it. That you're like, why do you need? You need income tax from me. I have to pay you yearly on, on the property. I can never really own property. We never really own our car. Like, you could have a car paid off, work super fucking hard for your car, but if you don't pay enough in personal property tax, the government will take your fucking car, and you can't legally even use it. So they own everything. That is a very socialist idea. Capitalism is about the idea that the individual can do, and I think that's the big thing that I'm trying to get across, is that capitalism works.
It does work, and
up until we don't have a corrupt government, because capitalism is supposed to be about the people being able to run their government, and we don't run our government anymore. And we've literally lost sight of this.
So we truly don't know if capitalism even works, because we've really never even tried
capitalism for sure works.
But
we've never had true capitalism.
Yeah,
not in our lifetime.
No.
For sure, not in our lifetime.
We've never really even tried it. That's the thing.
Our parents saw the back end of it as it died off, I think.
So maybe in the 60s and 70s, when people were able to work at grocery stores or a gas station and be able to pay,
and afford a house, and all that.
Exactly, yeah.
And you notice that representation, that they were essential workers and they should get a living wage, and they should be able to have a family of 4, and a dad could go be just a manager, not even a GM at a grocery store, and
just like the night manager.
Yeah, just the night manager, and be able to pay for a house and be able to pay for college education and to do all these things. You think shit has changed so much to where we can't have that? It's the fact that have given zero accountability to these people that have fucked us over, and it is now almost a goddamn tyranny and social injustice that these people in the position that they're in right now literally are so almost sociopaths. I can't explain it any other way.
No. They are.
I can't explain it. I can't explain it any other way, because how could you live your life with having so much and being put into power by people who trusted you, and then to violate that fucking power? It's hard for me to grasp. It's hard for me to grasp.
Yeah, because we're all human beings. We're all here. We're all in it at the same time, man. Whether you're 70 years old or whether you're 1 or 2 years old, we're all in it together at this point in this situation here on Earth. And for these people that accept these powers of position, and for them to treat it the way that they do in order to gain financial gain, that's absolutely ridiculous. And I think the answer, to this problem is specifically what you've mentioned in multiple podcasts, is for the fact that anyone who holds any official office position doesn't get paid. They're legitimately, they just, you vote them in, they don't get paid. Yeah, we're going to put you in a house, you're going to have food, we're going to take care of your family, and it may not be forever, because once you're out of office, maybe you have to go out and find a job again. I don't know. I don't know the logistics of it, but it makes sense to me that those people should not make money, because as of right now, I'm pretty sure if you hold any official position, or is it just president? I don't know about Congress. Once you're in there, you get paid for life, right?
Yeah, I think it's most of them.
Yeah,
I mean, it's for sure
they get paid
president.
for
I don't
life,
know
man.
about the others.
You should, okay. So, and this is probably some weird thing, but this is what I've thought about, is that if you're an elected official, let's say not like a mayor,
Of a small city.
Yeah, not that doesn't count. But if you get like governor and you have a seat on in the Senate, I think that's how that works, right?
So
I
if
mean,
you're
governor's different. From
the governor's different, yeah.
But you just let's say you're a senator. You're a state senator.
Let's say that you're a state senator and you get voted in. Well, now you are set for life because you have this. You have a house. You have a house that you get to be in. Like a really nice house. You get all of your essential needs taken care of. But the second you take a penny on the side, I think you need to be dealt with. And I won't get into detail on
Hung, drawn, and quartered.
No, well, we have to avoid saying that, Johnny. Which is why I was saying dealt with. I remember Paul talking to me about that a couple months ago.
Yeah, that's because
You can't say that, but you can't say that. But you can say dealt with by the people.
Well, right now nothing's happening. These people are doing anything and everything that they want to do, and nothing's truly happening. They're, they get voted in, like you said, based upon what they said, and they do the complete opposite, and they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars, providing for their families while we're still working hard, and nothing changes.
The idea, and almost to come back to whatever Johnny said, is the fact that we have to be careful with our vocabulary. Because it's very easy to be labeled almost like on a terrorist level that, oh man, you're anti whatever, which they will easily label.
Crazy, like our forefathers, right? Like the founding fathers.
Tyranny.
The founding fathers were what's the word? Not terrorists, but what's that word that I'm looking for? Treason. Like they were committing high treason.
High treason. For the betterment. We as a people have lost a handle on our government. We are so, I don't know if we got blindsided. I don't know if we were just deluded in the bullshit that happened and we were just taken advantage of. I don't think it was schemed. I think smart individuals came in and realized that they could fuck the system and get into fucking power and really just be gods amongst men. And that's really what we needed. I
want to chime in on this real quick.
Sure, chime in.
Because you said that so we're being led astray by our government, which I agree with 100%. That we've gotten so past that. I feel like it's easy and that's right, that's correct. But I feel like it's really easy for a lot of people out there to be like, yeah, fuck the government, we hate the government, yada yada yada. And I agree. But I don't think people take enough responsibility for themselves either. And a good example of that would be the whole, and I'm biased here, whatever, but I'm going to go ahead and get my point out there. The whole minimum wage thing. I've heard people in the past talk about the minimum wage being raised, and people get upset about it. Why should the burger flipper make $16 an hour? Why should the trash man make $20 an hour? Why should these people be paid more? That right there, if you have that mentality, you're already on the wrong side and you're already losing. If you make $120,000 a year or $70,000 a year and you're worried about the people making $20,000 a year make more, man, this is you at $120,000 being able to live, or at $70,000 being able to live. And then the poor people are like down here. The people above you, you're nowhere close to them. You're way closer to the ground level. You're way, way closer to the poorest of the poor. So don't shit on them like they're scum, because you're right here. They're up there. They're above. Carrie Ann's like a professional WNBA player with a fucking 80-inch vertical. She can't reach them. The top of the top is way up there, above us. And we're so close to that, yet we deem them less than us. There's nothing. Okay, if you were to raise minimum wage, for example, people say, oh, prices go up. Prices go up. Why shouldn't I get more money too? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying raise minimum wage to a livable thing. Guess what? Your income goes up as well. You know what goes down? The people who make billions of dollars. Because you don't need that to live. You can still make your millions. You've earned it. You've earned it. But there has to be, you talk about our government being shitty and these government people being corrupt. You know who else is corrupt? People who let the employees that work for them starve. That is also an issue.
100%.
If you own a business and your business operates well and it has been successful, compensate your employees appropriately. If the business does well, they should get paid more money. If the business does bad, they should get paid less money, and so should you. Like that's.
I mean, that's choice at that point, right? Because you're not going to choose to be at that employer if they're making less money. You're going to go somewhere else where they make more money. That's just how that works. I agree.
It just
100%,
and I'm not.
man.
I don't have it figured out by any means. There's so much. There's so many numbers at play there that really fuck shit up.
Let's just ask.
You don't even really need that.
Hold on. Ask a simple question. And we've talked about Jeff Bezos many times, or even Mark Zuckerberg, or any one of these people who make billions of dollars. Why do they need to make $1 billion? Why? Truly, why? Why does anyone deserve $1 billion?
The whole
why?
No, I mean you can't spend it. It doesn't.
Well, I talked about that with Johnny the other day, and I said, man, it had to have taken a lot of work for Jeff Bezos to buy up Amazon and to change it from I'm selling books to where now I am the richest man on the planet.
For sure,
He did a
great job. He earned it. I'm not saying he
had
did.
to have taken a lot of work. And we've had discussions as far as, oh man, he would have moved his company, if we wouldn't have given him tax breaks.
Cool.
Which
See you later.
Yeah, I'm on your side. I'm on your side on that, by the way. But the idea that now he feels as though he is a god amongst men, and all of us are just.
And he's not. He is just us. He is
and
you. He is
sense,
I. He is Johnny. He's no one fucking different. For the simple fact that he used to sell books and had an online website for it, and now he's the most richest man in the world. Fuck that, man.
It's some sense of like psychopathy. His way of thinking. His way of thinking is, how can I get somewhere new? Not to shit on Jeff Bezos, which I will shit on Jeff Bezos, but I don't want to do that right now. I think it's not just Jeff Bezos. I think it's what we allow as fucking people, and we never question anything. We sit back, and we live in our living rooms with our family, and then we're like, oh, as long as they're allowing me to be in my living room and watch fucking, Mahomes fucking throw the football, well, then I'm okay. And the next, they take a little bit more, but they go, oh, well, as long as I can be here and then do this and then go to work, and then they take a little bit more away, and then be like, oh, well, as long as I have this, we've been timid. We have been timid little fucking bitches throughout the past 100 years of what has happened within this country, and we've allowed these assholes with this sense of, I have no empathy for you. I have zero empathy for you. I am able to take advantage, and look at me sitting on top. And guess what's the problem with that mentality? Is they always want more. When us as individuals are just like, please just don't take away so much to where I can't be in my living room. Please just don't put me in a place where I'm worried about somebody knocking on my door. And next thing you know, they're asking me some shit about, oh, where have I been? What have I done? What are my beliefs? This is a really bad mentality to have. At some point, we have to quit being timid and quit fighting each other, and then realize the true enemy is this.
That's the point that I was trying to make.
And it's always been that way. And it's always been that way with Talk Junkies. We've always had this mindset before what is happening right now.
Which is all I was getting into with that minimum wage thing, honestly. Where I'm saying, if you say, hey, this burger flipper shouldn't be able to feed his kids, then fuck you. Honestly, if you think that...
Don't go eat there.
Yeah, if you think that anybody shouldn't be able to feed and take care of their kids and be able to live just a decent lifestyle, I'm not saying they need a whole bunch of shit that you've got. You've worked hard for your shit. But man, they should be able to take care of what they've got in their life.
Any job.
At any job. If you're employed at all, that should not be an issue. And if you're like, man, I make $17 an hour and I do something super important because I drive an ambulance. Yeah, you do something super important. And you should make more money than that. Don't be mad because they're getting a raise. Be mad that you're not as well. Don't fight the people below you and say they don't deserve that. Fight the people above you and say, yo, pay me more money.
They sit back and they laugh.
You're closer to them. They're like starting a war between us.
And the high-level Democrats and Republicans are laughing because they're all on the same side. When did we forget this? Or when did this even become a fucking thing? That the high-level Democrats and the high-level Republicans are really all on the same side.
They are. 100%, man. They're all in their same
But
luxury apartments.
they make us feel as though we need to be so separated. This is not the fucking case. If there's one scenario that should show you what runs this country, because it would fall apart without everyday fucking workers, the people that do the bullshit, the people that work fucking hard, the nurses, the garbage men. I will especially talk about the garbage men. Because, dude, what do you do with your fucking trash? You need somebody to move it. You need somebody to do the fucking dirty work for you. They're essential. Even the rich create fucking trash. They need garbage men to fucking move their trash. Otherwise, their, $40 million fucking houses end up looking like shit because they have trash sitting out front. And they're not about that, right? They need essential people to keep the cogs moving. We're fucking essential. Don't ever fucking lose your power. You hold more power than what you fucking know. And I think it's important to fucking remember that.
I think Johnny, you hit it home, man. You hit complete home, brother. Like
I'm just saying,
there's no other way to look at it, man. And I've never looked at, like, whenever people talk about raising minimum wage, I've kind of been that person in the back of my mind and back of my head kind of disagreeing with that. But until just the way that you just described it, man, the way that you just described it is absolutely hits home, dude. Like,
it doesn't even have to be minimum wage.
It doesn't.
First of all, minimum wage doesn't mean shit because everything else just adjusts.
No, that's the problem.
It's not even that.
Everything else
it
just
doesn't
adjusts.
have to adjust if the people at the top are willing to take less.
Exactly. That's
the issue. You
why
talk about people being corrupt and people being good neighbors to each other. Here's the thing. If you're a middle-class white American male and you make, or you're upper middle class, you're high middle class, you're making three figures, you're making $100,000 a year. I think that's high middle class. I don't actually know the numbers. But let's just say you're making $100,000 a year. You live in a nice area with nice houses around you, and you're worried about your neighbors who are right next to you, but you're not worried about the person who's only making $20,000 and has a problem feeding their kids. That's the whole point I was getting at. You are more neighbors to them than you will ever be to the people that you aspire to be like above you. Get mad at the people above you and help the people below you.
Exactly.
You are closer to them. You are more neighborly. They are part of your community more than any of the. You think these fucking. Oh man, I'm moving up. I'm moving up in the building. I'm almost to the 51st floor, and the CEOs are up there on floor 852 million. Man, you're closer to the people on the ground floor. Way closer. A million times closer. Don't think that you have power, but don't think that you're way up there. Help the people around you.
Why is there a 1%?
Exactly.
Why? That's the true question, man. Like. The amount of poor people, and then you have the 1%. For literally, just give us 0.2% of that 1%, and how that would affect and change people's lives.
Yeah.
The next day, that is insane, man.
I said this.
That is insane.
Not a year ago, but probably like a good actually almost a year ago when I first came onto this podcast was basically I think it was almost a year ago. Now, anyway, I said that then where I was like the gap in money is so incredibly large that it's absurd that nobody looks at it that way.
Yeah.
And that people get mad at the people below them and say, man, they don't deserve that. Man, as soon as you say someone below you doesn't deserve something, fuck off. Honestly, that's just my opinion. Maybe they got a different opinion. As soon as you say the people below you don't deserve something at all or haven't worked hard for it, man, fuck off. You've worked hard for what you've done. They've worked hard for what they've done. You deserve more. They deserve more as well. The people...
Does that not tie into a little bit of centrist spirituality?
Have some care for other fucking people.
So can I roll off and talk about a little bit of what it is for me to be spiritual? And everybody on the podcast who's ever heard me knows I'm not a religious person, but I definitely have a sense of spirituality, and that's why I feel like I need to talk about it now, because it ties in so much for me. Is why not step back and put yourself in a place to where you had to live that person's life? How could you say that, oh man, I'd be so much better and I'd fucking do things fucking differently? No, that is not the case. You need to have respect for these fucking people. You could be, it was a fucking,
I mean, flip of the coin.
You're rolling so hard dice to be like born into a rich white family in fucking America like 40 years ago. And then you just get off and everything fucking works for you. I'm just talking about white privilege. That's something else. I'm just using it as an example because there are people who are harder off in different races. That is the sense of spirituality. You need to understand these are people too. These are people too. People have lost this idea that everybody is just people. Everybody's just fucking people. Have a little bit of fucking respect. Everybody should have a fucking living wage. How fucking hard of that is to do? It's not some fucking hard fucking thing to do. Everybody should
When
be
you have
able to have.
billionaires that exist,
Yes.
If you have people that make X amount of money at any point in time, and I know they're extremely hardworking, and there are some people that deserve what they work for. Harder working people deserve.
Not $1 billion, man. Not $1 billion. No way.
Okay. At some point, you have to fucking start regulating it. And the big issue is the people that are fundamental to your society, which I said what we're dealing with right now. What we're dealing with right now, currently, is this showing of what really runs society. And if these people just can't be able to afford rent, they don't need mansions. I'm not saying that, but man, they should be able to pay a little bit into college, better themselves. But these people are lost. These people are lost, and they get into bad shit. And the next thing you know, you have this degraded side of society, and then you have these people on the opposite end taking advantage of them in the end. And then you have the middle class that fucking pays for everything. We cannot continue to do this and have it fucking work.
How many people are going to turn into millionaires or billionaires because of the current situation we're in?
Oh, I mean, they're what is it? The
not turn into, but make more than
Exactly.
they already are there.
I mean, there's been multiple politicians that knew about this that pulled out fucking stocks, which
Right.
they're being investigated about.
How? That's how absolute corrupt this system is. And anyone who watches this podcast, I'm pretty sure that they are in complete agreement. You know, that's insane, man. What do we have any ideas? Right? I know we've had a few ideas. Do we have any new ideas?
That's the issue that I run into is I feel like I know what works, but I don't know how to fix it or get it to that point. And let's be honest, I don't know
Johnny,
what actually
capitalism
works.
Johnny,
I'm not asking you to fix it, man. I'm just simply asking for just a small suggestion.
I'm not talking about that, Jesse. I'm not talking about capitalism or communism
Yeah.
or any of that. I
No.
just meant in
No, I
general.
know.
Right.
I know, but I have an idea. Because capitalism fucking works. You cannot keep fucking feeding the rich off the fucking poor. There was,
That
I
is
think,
capitalism.
No. This is not. This is because our generation's capitalism fucking looks at it this way. This isn't the origin of capitalism. This is the issue. We've seen a corruption of capitalism throughout this time. The idea of capitalism that anybody can fucking be anything given the amount of work, right? But you see these people with so much fucking momentum that are able to come in and corrupt the political system that we have now. So we need to hold a higher standard to our political officials whenever they come in. The second they take a dollar on the side, we need to deal with them. That's all I'm going to say. We need to deal with them. And on the opposite end, we need to understand that it's not just about an individual, it's about this whole cog that fucking works, and that everybody deserves an education. Dude, capitalism, and you talk about it on paper, man. Talk about it on paper.
Man, those are some real socialist views.
Dude, if you
Everybody
get-
deserves an education.
No, that is capitalist too.
I wouldn't say that's socialist. I would say that's a fundamental right
Would
of
you
living.
not? Would you literally pursuit of happiness kind of shit, right?
Yeah.
Your pursuit of a better life, which is why, man, it pisses me off how immigrants are being treated right now too throughout this whole thing. But I don't want to get into that. But I shout out to all the immigrants that are here and that are dealing with a lot more shit than I'm dealing with. So my heart goes out to you. But I will say this. We have established the fucking fact that this is the life that we get as middle class. This is the life that we get. And if I want to pursue this, I have to get into extreme amounts of debt, and I owe this fucking asshole so much fucking money. And I know that's a little bit capitalist, but that's not pure capitalism.
I mean, I don't see how it's not
Capitalism
though.
is about funding this undersided portion of society that literally is the foundation of it. And you have a good political system that's put in place, and you elect people that are worried about the people.
I think that's where it starts.
That's where it starts.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Dude, we didn't start out on, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, who wasn't ever in office. I know he was just a really intellectual mind and had really good fucking politics, but it wasn't about that. It was about a tyranny away from a government and focused on the individual. This is what capitalism was.
You're talking about unrelated things right now, though. Capitalism
this
is separate from democracy. Capitalism is like a socioeconomic view, and democracy is like just like a governmental.
We're like the republic that we're in does not work.
I think what Jesse's saying is capitalism would work under a political system that is held accountable.
I know that's what you're saying, and I still don't agree. Simply because take the government out of it, completely take them out, pretend that they don't exist, and just take pure capitalism, like you said. How do you still not end up with someone like Jeff Bezos? Give me an example, because people are still corrupt.
You tax them correctly. You do not give them tax breaks.
Okay, so you tax them correctly.
We don't get fucking tax breaks.
Okay, tax them correctly.
I pay for the fucking bullshit car that I fucking have out in my fucking driveway to where if I don't pay it enough, the government will come and collect it. I need to own something. My life is fucking meaning.
That has nothing to do with...
I'm an American.
That has nothing to do with...
I should own something.
I said take the government...
Isn't that the whole point?
Jesse, you legitimately didn't even answer my question. I said take the government out of it and just do pure capitalism. Take the government completely out. How do you still not end up with someone like Jeff Bezos?
That's true.
Because that's what happens.
True.
People are fault and people have greed.
I think
still end up with that.
Okay, so in order to answer your question, John, I think a more a reformed vision of capitalism. I think the idea of capitalism is a fantastic idea, but I think that there is you had to reform it in some way. There has to be a cap, just like you specifically said, on how much money that you can truly make, because no individual needs to make.
Then that's not true capitalism.
When do you take? That's what I said. You have to reform it.
When does it become socialism and capitalism? Whenever you take and you charge the 99% of fucking people to pay for the 1%, does that not sound very socialist to you? Because that's what we're doing.
And
that is not capitalist. That is not a capitalist mentality.
Bro, that is also still capitalism.
The idea of capitalism would let corporations die. It lets them die to allow something better to come in.
You're right. I agree with that.
Capitalism.
I agree with that.
We're not there.
I think you have to refine
capitalism. Still works.
You have to refine capitalism, because I think I'm in agreement with Johnny that there's eventually going to be a person who comes up with the greatest idea. They have the greatest idea of all time on here on Earth, and they make billions and billions of dollars, and then
You got Sam Wall, whatever his last name is, who has Sam's Club and Walmart. He is still... You get rid of the government, you get rid of tax breaks, get rid of all that, pretend it doesn't exist, and you're in true capitalism. This Sam Wall, whatever guy, exists.
Sam Walton, yeah.
Walton, thank you. Makes Walmart, makes Sam's Club, and then has people working for them and pays them absolute shit.
Okay.
That would still fucking happen.
Have you ever heard of something called a union? Because unions come in and they still decide their government.
That's not part of
capitalism. The government's the over-regulating fucking thing that comes in and says, my life has value, my life has meaning, my work has meaning, I'm going to get what I fucking want. We have lost this. We are lackluster middle-class individuals.
I'm literally agreeing with everything you're saying, except for the fact that I don't feel like you have a full understanding of pure capitalism. I could be wrong. I could 100% be wrong.
We can both agree that no systems have it perfect, but I'm going to say that capitalism is as close as we have it right now. And the problem is with capitalism is we're not even dealing with a capitalist society anymore.
And we haven't been.
No.
If you were to scroll it back on how fucking things work, the shit would be implemented so well and people would be happy again if it was uncorrupted. But the problem is our lack of accountability.
Hold on. I disagree. And I'm not trying to revert right now, but exactly what Johnny just said. Okay, so there are good politics, right? Good politics are happening. We've corrected that problem. We've established that now we have an unbiased or
hypothetical here. You fix the government. Okay.
Uninfiltrated government. And you have Sam Walton still running Walmart. He's still going to be making billions of dollars and treating his workers like shit.
Yeah,
in true capitalism, he truly would. And who wouldn't?
What it takes isn't what it takes. This is the point I was getting at. What it takes isn't capitalism. You're right. Capitalism is good. I'm not saying it's not.
You have to reform it.
No, it doesn't even take that. That's not the issue. It's not ignoring the government side, because the government is a problem. Once again, hypothetical. Government doesn't exist, or the government's figured it out. We figured it out. We've got a perfect government. Okay. You still, as far as economics go, the problem isn't any kind of capitalism, communism, socialism, any of them. They're all garbage in one way, shape, or form. They're all good in one way, shape, or form. some more so than others and different, whatever. The point is, it comes down to people. People have to care about other people. Sam Walton has to give a shit about the people who work for him. Jeff Bezos has to give a shit about the people who work for him. You have to give a shit about the people that you work with and above you. You have to worry about the people below you and above you. You should care. You should want your CEO to make money, because when he makes money, you should make more money. You should want your business that you work for, even if you're just a janitor, you should want to do the best job that you possibly can so that that company that you work for does really well. And then everybody in that company, not just the CEO, everybody in that company should make more money and live a better life.
How does that not make sense?
But that doesn't happen.
How does that not make sense?
So it comes down to people. It doesn't come down to a system. It comes down to someone actually giving a shit about another person.
Because the CEO decided that they need
billions of dollars.
A $10 million bonus this year, and they don't give it back.
So the issue isn't a fucking what system we use. The issue is people.
No, you're right. Absolutely. 100%. You're right. The issue is the human flaw. The human flaw.
Which, is it really even a flaw? Because we've had these uncorrupt people in government for such a long time persuading and telling us how we should react or even live our lives. And they're so good at it that we've actually believed it, right?
I think it is a flaw. And
well, I'm just saying we've been indoctrinated. Is it really to our fault? We're born into it, man.
100%.
Yeah, I think it's a part of human. I don't know. I don't know. It's a tough one, man. It's hard to answer because every individual is different.
We don't have it right. If we had an absolute answer, to all these fucking socioeconomic fucking problems,
then I'd be preaching about it every day.
Then, dude, we'd know it. We know it. But I can guarantee you right now, is we're heading in a path that isn't even capitalist anymore, and we're us as the middle class are eating the problems, and we're the ones that have to shit it out. Not the fucking CEOs. They're not eating the fucking problem. They're not. They don't have to deal with shit. They don't have to deal with fucking shit. Neither do our politicians, because they're in a place of they can get it wrong all day. Think about it. We have put people into power to where they could fuck up, they could fuck us, and guess what? We're still voting for them next term. What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us?
That's the greatest question, man.
The fuck are we doing with these people? It's this whole other tier. No, the middle class run shit. We run shit. And like I said, we need to quit being the little bullshit bitch society that sits back and goes, oh, just please let me be in my house. Please let me be in my house and have my fucking TV. Because eventually, whenever you're at that level and you're a little fucking bitch bending over backwards for them, they'll take that shit away from you too. Because they need more. That's their mentality. They need more every decade, whatever. They want a little bit more from us, and they'll fucking take it. At some point, we have to stand up and go, no, this is not okay. This is not okay. My elected officials are not representing me appropriately. I need to fucking redo some shit here.
And I just want to I want to make people.
How do we fix that? That's the only issue. Yeah, and I don't have the answer. None of us do. By the way, that's a hypothetical.
No,
None of us know.
I know it's hard. I'm not some fucking guiding light within this whole thing, but I know the origin of the problem. But I see the problem. I see the problem. I don't know the answer, but I know the problem, and everybody needs to understand the problem. First off, that's the first fucking step to anything. You can't just be ignorant to it. You need to recognize the problem. Understand the fucking economics that we're dealing with. Understand that, we're getting $1,200 back as far as a stimulus, but everybody's fucking breadcrumbs. We're paying for all these fucking CEOs to fucking still have their fucking shit. Well, we need to let them fucking fail because it doesn't affect us. It only affects the 1.001%. Fuck those people. Dude, they already have enough. They have enough.
They should get nothing.
There are people who need living wages. Gas station attendants. Fucking garbage men. They need more. Fucking first responders. Fucking need. Oh my god.
Man, now you're starting to sound like me.
More.
But people get mad when you say eat the rich.
No, but I agree. No, we should. It's gotten to that point. It's almost uncapitalist to fucking think that the idea is the otherwise.
That's why I said people.
It's uncapitalistic to think it's the otherwise.
I said if you make $200,000 a year and you say, man, the eat the rich people are dumb. No, fuck you.
Don't give up power. We've given up too much fucking power here. We need to take the power back. The whole point of capitalism is that the people can own something and create your own life, and it's been stripped away from us slowly, bit by bit.
I think, though, Jesse, that it's come to a point where in order for this to take place, it's going to be something that has to be extremely dangerous. Truly, something extremely dangerous. Because we've had someone on our show multiple times with another podcast who has reached out to senators within our own state on multiple occasions to the point where he felt like he was making no difference. He was calling the senator that much to where it you know what I'm saying? So like, it is going to require something dangerous in order
because it doesn't make a difference. You really think that the people in charge of writing the laws are going to write laws that hurt them?
No, not at all.
No, that's why it's what I said 2 weeks ago, and nobody wants to stand up and do it, myself included, by the way. I'm just as guilty of this. I'm a hypocrite.
Me too.
Nobody wants to stand up and say the fact that, like, treason's a thing that kind of needs to happen.
Yeah.
Like, that's a thing.
And it's not a treason against, because what is the United States of America?
That's the whole point, right?
It's the people. What they're fucking misconstruing is that if you're treasonous with these ideas, it's against these government officials and the people in power that have taken advantage of it too much.
That are the real tyrants, that are the people who they've done the treason.
Because doesn't it say that against true tyranny, you have every right as an individual to stand up against it, but now you could be labeled as a terrorist very easily, and they can manipulate it to where, well, now I'm a terrorist for saying that.
Oh yeah.
I am a red-blooded PBR drinking, Jim Beam shot taking Missourian, always at my fucking core. I know I'm drinking Trulies right now.
Like 50% of our audience just said, "Oh, never mind. We don't listen. We don't listen to what Jesse says."
I know. I'm red-blooded fucking American. I believe in the American dream. We gave it up. Us as a mass decided to give it up. That we live mediocre lives and then have to work way too hard for shit that we will never own ourselves. And the government still has fucking control over it. I'm a libertarian at my heart, to be honest with you. I'm a libertarian, Missouri, PBR drinking, Jim Beam shot taking motherfucker. Hold on to that.
Make a
my
shirt.
whole fucking life.
Make a shirt.
I'm a libertarian. I think the federal government's some fucking bullshit, and they've been fucking around too much. And us as individuals, guess what? You cannot take this away from us. We run the shit. It's not the CEOs. It's not the federal government. It is what we are doing right now. We are keeping this nation together right now through this. If we decide to go, then the whole thing's fucked. And then they'll probably be fucked. They know they need us. They need us. We are important. Your life has value. Don't ever fucking forget that. It is important. That's all I have to say about that. I need to fucking piss. I'm drinking PBR
in a moment. And it's Truly. I'm a red-blooded PBR drinking, has drank Trulies for the last 6 months of his life.
Man, it's low in calories. Try not to have a belly whenever I come back to work.
I mean, a lot of... man, like, this is Talk Junkies. 100%. Like, this is our true goal, honestly, is what is going to better us as individuals. And
as a society, as other people.
I'm 30, almost 31 years old, and me being an adult for as long as I have been, and I will consider myself being an adult since I was 18, 19, 20, whatever. I've realized it, man, and I know a lot of you out there have as well. And I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, and I've watched a lot of conspiracy shit, and I've listened to a lot of C-SPAN, all that shit, man. And I think that we all can agree that in some way, shape, or form, our government is kind of probably corrupt.
Oh yeah.
And I think if you were to ask any American, I mean, I think the overwhelming amount would probably say the same.
You do like a random survey,
yeah.
I guarantee you over 50%, probably over like 80%, to be honest,
right.
would be like, yeah, our government, fuck our government.
So what do we do, man? And I think that was kind of where I wanted the podcast to go tonight, and I'm completely okay with how it went. Truly, it was great. It was beautiful. I think it was a lot of heart. And
if I had one point to make, Jesse made a really good point with the whole and he said it before about the whole getting angry, like get mad, because everybody should be upset about this. If I had a point in this entire podcast, mine would be the fact that just give a shit about other people. Like if you give a shit about other people, that's already step one in the correct direction of actually making a difference.
But in where we have been set as a society, it's hard to think that way. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's not that hard.
It's not, but the way that for a lot of people, the way that they've put it on us, people can't think like that. You know what I'm saying? And
then we've already failed at that point.
for sure. And I hope
Bro,
not,
it's
man.
not that hard to
I
give a
hope
shit
not.
about someone else.
No, I'm not saying
It's not that hard. It goes back to, and I know this is so minuscule and we talk about it every time. Jesse and I have talked about it multiple times. The whole leaving your shopping cart out. I get it. You're giving the shopping cart boy something to do. You're keeping him employed, blah, blah, blah. No, you're a lazy piece of shit who doesn't care about other people.
But
And if you have that mentality, then fuck you in every way. You have no good to this society.
What I'm saying is that that this is what they have created. They have created this specifically for this reason.
Then we have to overcome that.
That's what I'm saying. And I think within just this podcast itself, I think that would shed light and help people understand what's truly going on, man. And I'm not saying that we're right 100%, but damn, man, I think we're close to at least over 50%, man. Like, we care about people. We care about each other.
We'll never know.
Care.
We've all got our own opinions.
Exactly. But we care about the fucking intellect and individual person of each person that lives within the United States, and we want better for this country. We want this country to succeed. We want everyone to be happy, everyone to be able to live in their own house, take care of their own family, eat their own food, and not fucking worry about it whenever a fucking virus comes through and everything is on lockdown. Everyone should be able to be chill in this situation, man. And we are not in that situation. And that's what fucking Talk Junkies wants, in my opinion.
You know, so I'm a big listener of Dave Ramsey, and I'll always shout out to Dave Ramsey, even though he'll never listen to this podcast ever.
He's got this on his YouTube playlist as he goes to sleep at night, actually.
That'd be crazy. I'd love to have Dave Ramsey on. I have some personal questions to ask him. But a big thing that he always said, as far as you advancing in the world and having more capital to your name and getting money, he said the best thing you can do with your money is now you can start to give it back. And that was the biggest thing. Whenever he talked about developing wealth and everything, as far as investing goes and being in charge of your financial future, because that's really big. And I still believe in the capitalist idea. But he was like the best portion of that. He was like, whenever you get to the point to where you're savvy, you work hard, you're able to put money away, have the savings, whatever. He goes, at some point you'll have some excess and you won't, like, you can spend it on a nice car. And he goes, nice cars are cool, but what's way better than that is being able to put it back and knowing that you're influencing the world in a better way and giving it back, which I think that is also so huge within this capitalist
Care about
idea.
other people.
It is this. If anybody thinks it's just you or just me or just Johnny or just Paul, it's not. We are for sure in this together. And I've really had this, what I call a spiritual idea about this whole thing, is that we're all interconnected. Anybody, whatever I do, if I piss Paul off like tonight, and then all of a sudden I put him in a bad mood, and then I'm giving like bad shit. We're all interconnected. That's like a bad example, but I really think that we're really interconnected, and it's better to be positive and just be good to other fucking people, and you can do that financially too. And I think that's another reason why capitalism is important, and why you'll see this function of people putting money into, like me and Johnny talked about it the other day. Like, if you were to win $10 million, right? And I was like, oh man, I put so much into education. I'd obviously take care of my parents. I'd take care of my parents because they've bent over backwards to make sure that I'd maintained a life like back in my teen years, because I fucked up so much. So I owe my life to them. But as far as it'd be so meaningful to have some excess money to where I'm like, oh, well, now I can start doing shit for other people. I'm like, that's why I don't understand that almost the psychopathy and the lack of empathy that these people who have so much, all they still do is fucking, I was like, give me, and we had the discussion too, where it's like, maybe it corrupts you entirely. And then now maybe the mentality that it takes to get to that point, to have that amount of money, is completely corrupting, and now all you're worried about is getting more, and you never worry about anyone else. I don't know. So maybe there's a fine line, some gray area somewhere. I mean, I'll never be a billionaire. I'll never be a millionaire. I would like to think that I will be able to retire around the age of like 65 with enough to where I can go to Utah and see Arches National Park, every couple of months. But I mean, outside of that, like if I have like some access, I would really like to, and not just through knowledge, but through finance too, that you can influence the world through this. And these people have way too much power, and the idea that
They have way too much.
you can allow them so much, and supposedly they'll have that same mentality. I mean, we've tested it. It doesn't work. It's not this trickle down thing. It's not the Reaganomics. It is, you cannot allow these people so much because they end up hoarding it, just hoarding it.
And
They don't give back.
And not to
They
say
don't
that,
give back.
And hopefully anyone who's listening to this podcast, we wouldn't do the same thing. But at the end of the day, they are human just like you and I. They're no different than you and I. Just because they created a successful business, a multi-billion-dollar business, or a multi-million-dollar business, they are legitimately just like you and I. Me, Johnny, Jesse could create a multi-million-dollar business. Maybe it's out of sheer luck. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's because we worked our fucking asses off to do it. But at the end of the fucking day, they are just human. They are us. We are them. We are all the same. That is it, man.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know where you're going with that.
That's just all I was going with it.
No,
man.
that was beautiful. No, that was beautiful. We're all the same. We're all the same. We're all in this shit together, man. We're all in this shit together. We gotta do the best that we think we can now. Because if you just let, like, how many, like, I mean, there's 352 point whatever million people in America.
320 million.
My bad. 320 whatever. 320 million people in America trying to do their best, which nobody's trying to do their best. They're all just trying to fucking just make ends meet, the majority of them, and then you have this one small percentage just absorbing fucking so much. You have to...
That's a problem.
It's a fucking problem.
That needs to be dealt with,
This
man.
is all a problem. And the fact that our politics are completely misconstrued, and our voting process is shit. The fact that we only get A and B every fucking 4 years is a fucking joke. Can we all agree on that? It's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
I mean, you can vote for a third option. I do.
It's a waste. It's a waste of a fucking vote. It's what
It's
they're
not a
already
waste. It's
deciding.
not a waste if everybody actually does it.
We are too separated from our government. We are too separated from our government, and the libertarian in me will propose an idea that doesn't make any sense, but I think the federal government needs to be completely whitewashed and gotten rid of, and a restructure of government needs to happen on a more state level.
Based on the Constitution, man. That's so important and prevalent.
I don't know.
Remember
I'm a libertarian. I think people should be able to fucking have whatever drugs they want, and I because I think people will be fucking people. But don't regulate fucking people. Quit. But I know
Yeah,
that's completely separate.
for sure.
That's for a separate fucking.
Well,
podcast.
we're close to the hour mark, man. We're right there. I think that we hit home on a lot of subjects tonight. I truly do, and I think a lot of it's important and it needs to be heard.
It's hard talking about this.
It is. It's extremely hard, man.
It's almost. It's not like it's forced. I don't think anybody's forcing.
No, not at all.
Shit out of their mouths.
It's
but
how
it's
we
just,
felt, man, since
dude,
we've been
it's
adults.
so shitty.
It
so
is.
fucking shitty.
To be born and then grow up, and then when you're an adult to finally realize what's going on and to understand it, and maybe we're wrong, and maybe we're completely wrong, and none of this is happening. Odds are probably not. But to grow up into this and to, like, this is what we have to fight for. Like, we didn't have an option. We have to. Like, we have to fight for what we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I'm not saying I mean, that's just how I feel, man. Like, we have to fight for this, man. Each and every single person. Like, people are making too much money. I'm with you, Johnny, man. I think if I was a janitor, I would probably be a janitor. I would love to clean restrooms and hallways. If I knew I worked my fucking ass off to make more money,
too, right?
I would.
That's important too.
100% it is, man. 100% it is.
And if I could just say one thing, like me personally, like I said this to Johnny earlier, is I'd much rather be an optimist and be wrong than a pessimist and be right.
It's hard to do
when it comes to a lot of these things. So I think we need to keep positive, take deep breaths, and realize that it's a day by day thing. And we the first thing we need to do is not be overwhelmed by things and realize that, man, we still have a little bit of fucking go ahead as far as control goes.
We do.
We can still change things.
But it requires
man,
everyone to listen to this
man,
podcast or any other podcast out there that suggests that we are in trouble and we need to do something about it.
The day that they take the mics away from us, right, is the day that we really go at it.
Yeah.
Like, we only do a podcast like once a week, but I guarantee you if all of a sudden, like, it was, they told us to be shut down, all of a sudden we'd be like, man, we did something right.
Yeah.
And we'd probably go, like, horns forward, just, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
But, well, I don't know. I have a lot less to live for than Paul, but I don't know. It's a weird scenario that we're in right now, and I think we need to be mindful of the people that are around us and that they're trying to do their best, and we need to be more critical to the people that we've given power to.
That's what it all comes down to.
Thank you all for listening, man. Truly appreciate it. The best thing that you could do within this video, and if you've watched it in its entirety or even 1 minute or 2 minutes of it, is please share it, honestly. On social media, anything like that, like it and comment on it. That's truly what we...
I really want to know your comments. I want to see if you agree with us on some things. I really want to see if you disagree with us on some things, because I'm sure there's shit that I've said. I'm sure there's shit that Jesse said, Paul, that you're like, man, what a fucking idiot. They don't know what they're talking about. This is the way... Like, I want to see that.
Yeah, we definitely want to see it, man. Commenting is like the biggest thing for us. That's honestly, truly. So within saying that, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification to all our junkies out there.
Stay fly and ring the bell.